Now let's talk about another topic related to cloud. It's called cloud database. Means what are the different technology that we'll use in the cloud in terms of the data storage and data management. So what do you mean by cloud database? So a cloud database is nothing but a database that typically runs on a cloud computing platform, right? And access to the database is provided as a service. So cloud service providers give the facility to store your data, and it will do it uh, by enabling the database management system uh, into the cloud. And we can access, as a customer, we can access those services by using different type of services. Like there are two common deployment model related to the database, cloud database. User can run database on the cloud independently using the virtual machine image. So once a user will create a virtual machine, it has it and it will manage the database management system over there in the virtual machine, and they can use it. There is another way to use the cloud database by purchasing the access to the database service maintained by the cloud database providers. So there are different database which are provided by the cloud service providers. Um, One of the simple way of these services we know as a Google Drive, or any other services related as Google Drive, as well as in the Amazon. If you'll go Amazon Web Services, there are many database services that they will provide you. On that, you doesn't have to create the virtual machine. You just use the service. The databases available on the cloud, some are SQL based and some uses NoSQL data model. So I think most of you know about SQL. This SQL that you might have learned in the subject of database management system or relational database management system, in which you have learned that how you will create the table, how you can make the schema, and then how you can insert the data into the table. So on that, we use SQL, structured query language, to retrieve the data, to store the data, means to insert the data as well as retrieving the data, we'll use SQL. There is some databases which are using not only SQL, that is NoSQL type of languages, which will be used for the non-relational databases. So we have two type of database. One is the relational database, another is a category of non-relational database. Relational database we visualize in the form of table. Non-relational database we visualize in the form of different files, like XML, JSON, YAML, B BASIN, that is binary JSON. In that form, we'll visualize those data. So as we have discussed, we can use the data into two ways. One, we'll create a virtual machine image, or second, we'll use the database as a service. So when we use the virtual machine, so that image cloud platform allow user to purchase virtual machine interface for a limited times, and one can run a database on such virtual machine. So what we have is, we have seen that how we can create a virtual machine, right? An instance into the Amazon Web Services. And in that, we have installed, in the last class, we have installed the web server over there. In the same way, you can install the database, whatever database you want to install there, and you can use it. So users can either upload their own machine image with the database installed on it, or use ready-made machine images that already include an optimized installation of database. So you need to have a database in your virtual machine to use it. Second way of using the cloud database is with the help of database as a service. That is called DPaaS, database as a service. With a database as a service model, application owner do not have to install and maintain the database themselves. Instead, the database service providers takes the responsibility of installing and maintaining the database, and application owner are charged according to their usage of services. This is a type of software as a service, means it is in the category of software as a service. So we have three categories of services, right? Infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and software as a service. So this database as a service is in the category of software as a service, where the cloud service providers will provide the databases which are used to store and manage the data given by the user, and based on that they will charge it, like how much storage you require, and if uh, it is coming in free tier it is okay, otherwise they will be charged. Now let's talk about no non-relational data or NoSQL. So what is non-relational database? Is a database that does not has the tabular schema of row and column found in most traditional database system. Instead, non-relational database use a stored model that is optimized for the specific requirement of the typical data being stored. We have some examples like data may be stored as simple key value pair as JSON document, or a graph consisting of edge and vertices. So we have many ways how we can store the data, which is in the form of non-relational database. So what is a relational database? In the relational database, we visualize the data in the form of tables where we have the schema. Schema means the set of attributes are there, the set of columns are there, right? The attribute and the column are the same, column name are the same. So we have different column names, and under each column we have some data on it, right? So those are nothing but the rows. So we have the column and the rows in the table, and that is generally we have, that is called a schema. Schema means the structure of the table is defined, but in a non-relational database the structure of the table is not at all defined, right? uh, what all of these data store have in common is that they don't use the relational model. That is the uh, the common sense that if we are using non-relational data, we are not using relational model. Also, they tend to be more specific in the type of data they support and how data can be queried. For example, time series data stored are optimized for query over time-based sequence of data, while graph-based stores are optimized for exploring weighted relational relationship between entities. It want to say that in a non-relational data model, we have different type of model in which if we take, let's say, timestamp based data storage, in which the main focus is on timestamp. If we talk about graph based, so our main focus is on relationship between two entities. Like in a graph, we have parent and child relationship, right? Neither format would generalize well to the task of managing transactional data. Now it says that these databases that we are talking about is, we cannot say that it is a general solution for managing all the transactional data. So based on the application and based on the situation, we used to take any of the non-relational database to store our data. Let me tell you, in the cloud database, either we can use SQL based or we can use NoSQL based. NoSQL means there is no schema defined. SQL based means there is a schema defined. Means NoSQL means it is non-relational database, SQL means it is a relational database. The term NoSQL refer to the data store that do not use SQL for query and instead use other programming language and uh, construct to query the data. Now, NoSQL means we are not using SQL. Instead of that, we'll use some other programming languages. In practice, NoSQL means non-relational database, even though many of these databases do support SQL compatible queries. However, the underlying query execution strategy is usually very different from the way a traditional relational database would execute the same SQL query. So it want to say that the SQL and non-SQL are different, right? SQL, we talk about relational database where everything is in the form of table. In the table, we have column in the rows. Maybe two or more table are related to each other. So we make the query accordingly and we'll use the SQL query on that. But in the non-relational database where we use other languages other than SQL, that is referred to as NoSQL. Major category of non-relational or NoSQL databases are document data stores, uh, columnar data store, key value data store, graph data store, time series data stores, object data stores, and external index data stores. So we have these category of non-relational or NoSQL. So the first one is document data stores. So what happening here is a document data store manages a set of named string, field, and object data value in an entity referred to as a document. So here in the document data store, we refer each and every record in the form of document where we have the string field in which we have the different object data values. These data stores typically store data in the form of JSON document. So JSON means this is the JavaScript object notation. In the form of that, it will store the document. Each field value could be a scalar item such as number or a compound element such as list or a parent-child collection. The data in the field of the document can be uh, encoded in a variety of ways, including XML, YAML, JSON, and BASIN. So, what is XML? We know that this is a extensible markup language. What is YAML? That is and markup language. And then we have JSON. I told you about that. This is JavaScript object notation. And what is BASIN? It is binary JavaScript object notation. The fields within documents are exposed to the store management system, enable an application to query and filter data by using the values of these fields. So we have fields within the item, like just like your row in a table. In the document data stores, we have fields, right? These fields are nothing but this. So we have, this is one example. We have the key value pair. This is the key, this is the document to it. And you can see it is written in the JSON format where we have the key value pair. This is the key and this is the value. Then you can see here key value, and that we can write the document. So this is one field and this is another field. And this is one document. Okay. Columnar data stores, columnar or column family data store organize data into column and row. In its simplest form, a column family data store can appear very similar to the relational database, at least conceptually. So in the columnar data store or the column family data store, we store the data in the form of rows and the columns, just like the table, but it is not at all related to relational database. but it look like we have stored the data in the form of rows and the columns. The real power of column family database lies in its denormalized approach to structuring sparse data. So sparse data could be structured in a denormalized way. If you see the example, it look like this. We have it look like a table. We have the column name. Inside the column name, we have the data, and here also we have the data. As you can see, the column family identity, the column family contact information. It is for the customer ID 001. It is also with the customer ID 001. Here we have only two pair or two column. Here also we have two columns. So this is a table with two columns. You can understand. Then we have key value data store. The key value data store is especially a large hash table. You associate each data value with a unique key, and the key value store uses this key to store the data by using an appropriate hash function. The hashing function is selected to provide an even distribution of hash key across the data storage. Most key value store only support simple query, insert, delete, and query like insert and delete operation. To modify the value either partially or completely, an application must override the existing data for the entire value. In most implementation, reading or writing a single value is an atomic operation. If the value is large, writing may take some time. So the key value pair is just like your a dictionary type of thing. Here we have the key and the associated value, but instead of the key, we'll use the hash instead of the actual key. So what we do is we take the value will be given to the hashing generation algorithm. It will generate the hash key for the given value, and the hash key is attached with the value. So if we have to search anything, what we do is we search the hash value, and from the hash value we'll get the data or get the value. It looked like this. We have the value. This is the associated key, and you can see that there is no sequence in the key also, and it is generating depend upon the value. If you have given this value, this is the key. If you have given this value, this is the key. In that way, it is generating it in the form of key pair value that it is stored. So key is nothing but the hash value. Hash is nothing but you can take it as a fingerprint. As a fingerprint means, so you have the whole document, let's say of 10 MB or 20 MB, and one hash will be generated of, let's say, 128 bit or 256 bit from those 20 MB or 30 MB file, and that hash value is attached with the document. And what is the usefulness of it? If the hash is generated with the document and we are sending document and hash to the receiver, if receiver will find out hash and the document, what it will do is it will find it out whether the data or whether the document is corrupted or not. Why? With the help of the hash value. So hash value is just like your message digest, or you can say it is a fingerprinting type of thing. So instead of looking for the whole document, you just see the hash value. If hash value is matched, it means that everything is fine. Your document is okay, right? So this is the key value data stores. Then we have the graph data store. So as you can see, it is in the form of graph, and there is some relations between two entities. The graph data store manage two type of information, node and edge. Node represent entity and edge specify the relationship between the entity. So it is just like the you have learned about entity relationship model, right? ER model, in which in which it will tell tell the relationship between two entities, right? In the same way, here also we have entities, like we have in the database, let's say in the university database, we have a student entity, we have faculty entity, right? We have academics entity, we have library entity, we have hostel entity. All those entity has their own attribute, and how student and faculty are related, how student and academics are related, how student and library are related, that is nothing but the relationship that we can show in the form of ER model. But here in the graph based store, we have the node and the edges. Edges will tell us the relationship between two entities. Both node and edges can have properties that provide information about the node or the edge similar to the column in the table. So just like the column in the table, we have the node, and node has many attribute, or edges may also have the attribute, because in the relational algebra you might have seen, sorry, in the relational database management system you might have seen that the relationship may also have the um, attribute. So edges can have direction indicating the nature of the relationship. So see this diagram like this. So we have an entity called employee, and there is a attribute called name. Here another entity, the attribute is its name, and the value is also defined here. There is a department entity, the name is head office. The employee entity name is also department. In that way, there's entities, and the edges will tell us the relationship between two entities. And there is the data inside with one attribute name. Time series data storage. So what happened in the time series data storage? We store the data in the form of timestamp. So once a data is generated, we store that particular data with its timestamp when they have generated. Okay. So the time series data is a set of value organized by time, and the time series data store is optimized for this type of data. Time series data is stored must support a very high number of writes, as they typically collect large amount of data in a real time from a large amount of sources. Time series data is stored and optimized for stores are optimized for storing telemetry data. This is including the IoT sensory data and application system counter updated as rare, and deletes are done as bulky operation. If you see this, it will look like this. So we have device ID like this, and the value of the device ID is this. There's a timestamp that in that timestamp, the device ID of this, the value is generating is this. At this timestamp, the device ID is this, and value is generated by this. At this timestamp, the device ID is this, and the value generated is this. Right. So it is used for those data which are generated periodically, or which may be generated based on some event, and whatever it is, it will attach the timestamp with the data. Object data store, here we visualize in the form of object. So the object data store are optimized for storing and retrieving large binary object or blobs such as image, text file, video, audio stream, large application data object and document, and virtual machine disk images. An object consists of the store data, some metadata, and a unique ID for accessing the object, right? Object stores are designed to support files that are individually very large, as well provide a large amount of total storage to manage all files. It look like this. We have, let's say, the blob is there, and the metadata related to this data is. There is another data stores which is in the category of non-relational database, which is external index data store. The external index data store provides the ability to search for information held in other data stores and services. An external index acts as a secondary index for any data store and can be used to index massive volume of data and provide near real-time access to these indexing. If you see this, we have these indexing IDs, but the indexing IDs are for the external data. Here, this is just like the JSON format. We have the key and the value pair, as you can see with the IDs. Now let's talk about data as a service. So what is data as a service? We talked about that we can use the database, or we can access the cloud database into one, either with the virtual machine or with the help of database as a service. Now, when we talk about database as a service, it is a data management strategy that uses the cloud to deliver data storage, integration, processing, and other analytical service via the network connection. So, any cloud service provider in the mm, in the base service of software as a service can provide data as a service, in which they manage everything, and it is the responsibility of the customer to store their data. So the cloud computing strategy that involve delivering application to end user over the network rather than having them run application locally on their devices. Just as software as a service removes the need of install and manage software locally, database as a service outsource most data storage, integration, and processing operation on the cloud. So it is just like software as a service, just like if you want to use the Oracle database. So what you do is, you doesn't have to install the Oracle software. You just go to the Oracle site, you open your account, and you can use the Oracle database. It's just like that. What are the benefit of database as a service? So as compared to on-premises data storage, means if we have the data storage on premises and we are managing the data on premises, what database as a service will provide the advantages. So the advantages are based on the speed, reliability, and the performance. So the first advantage is minimal setup time. So we doesn't have to spend much time for borrowing or to taking the license of the database management system, then store it into the system, and then use it locally. Instead, we just take any of the services from the cloud and start using it. Improve functionality, right? So if you are having the database with you locally, it has the limited functionality. But if we'll go for the cloud services, so they have the enhanced functionality as well as the updated functionality you will get. Greater flexibility, it will provide you the flexibility, as in the local premises you can use those databases locally, but if you are using the cloud, you can use those databases remotely as well as 24/7 it is available. Cost saving, instead of buying those databases and buying those storage physically, we are just using it and we are just paying it. It's just like a use per pay per use basis. So whatever you use, you have to pay for that. Automated maintenance, we doesn't have to bother about the maintenance. If the database is in the cloud, so it will do the maintenance by the cloud service provider. We doesn't have to bother about it. Smaller staff requirement to maintaining those databases, which are very much required when we have the huge databases of the firm or the company. So we have to manage all those database. But the thing is that if you are using, or if you are moving your uh, database to the cloud, so definitely we have to have the less requirement of the staff, right? Here, a very famous the database that we'll use in the cloud database, which is called MongoDB. Most of you know about this particular database management system, which is called Mongo database. Now, what is Mongo database? It is an open source document base. So it is a document base, right? Document base and leading NoSQL database. MongoDB is written in C++. MongoDB is a cross-platform document-oriented database that provide high performance, high available, and easy scalability. The MongoDB works on the concept of collection in the document. So we have read one type of non-relational database. This is document data store, right? So this MongoDB is based on that document data store. Here we have the database in the form of document as well as the collection of it. Here, the database is a physical container for collection. Each database gets its own set of files on the file system. A single database server typically has multiple databases. What is a collection? Collection is nothing but the group of MongoDB documents. It is equivalent to RDBMS table. So here we have the documents that you can relate with the tables. A collection exists within a single database. Collection do not enforce a schema. So here we doesn't have the specific schema because it is a schema-less database. So MongoDB is coming under NoSQL or non-relational database. Document within the collection can be different field. So typically all document is a collection are of similar or related purpose. Here we define the data as the JSON format in MongoDB. What is document? A document is a set of key value pair. Document have dynamic schema. Dynamic schema means the document in a same collection do not need to have the same set of field or structure. The common field in a collection document may hold different type of data. Here we store the data or the MongoDB is very much famous for storing the data in a non-structured way. So we have different sources like IoT data, Twitter data, or you can say some social media data, those or some different if you'll go to the e-commerce site where you'll find out different comments, those are also comes under non-relational data. So to store those type of data, we'll use the JSON format. In MongoDB we can use it in the form of document. If you want to relate the relational database and the MongoDB, what is the difference? Here, the database is called database, table is called collection, tuple or row is called document, column is called field, table join. If you join two tables, here it is called embedded documents. Primary key, here it is called the primary key, but here we have the default key ID. We doesn't have to define the primary key as we define in the RDBMS. Here we have the default key ID provided by the MongoDB itself. We doesn't have to create it. This is how typically a document is generated in the MongoDB. As you can see here, we have two field we have used, user one and user two. There is a message related to the user one. There is the message related to the user two. That data has been created in the MongoDB NoSQL. It is in the form of JSON, right? JavaScript object notation. Now let's talk about the theorem related to the database cloud, which is called CAP theorem. What is a CAP theorem? So CAP theorem is nothing but a tool used to make system designers aware of the trade-off while designing network shared data system. Now, to make or to implement the databases like the database of the cloud, we use the concept or we use the theorem of CAP. CAP has influenced the design of many distributed data systems. The CAP theorem applies to distributed systems that store state. there is a Rick Brower at the 2000 year symposium is there on principle of distributed computing. They have speculated, means they have guesses. Um, they have given a talk, or in the paper they have written that in any network shared data system, there is a fundamental trade-off between consistency, availability, and partition tolerance. Means if we have the consistency and availability, we cannot provide partition tolerance. If we provide tolerance and availability, we cannot provide consistency. So it says that there is some trade-off. There is some trade-off between all these three property related to the network storage, network is shared data storage system. But in 2002, Seth Galbert and Nancy Lency of MIT published a formal proof of uh, Brewer's that Rick reverse speculation, what they have told about the trade-off. And they have given a theorem. The theorem states the network storage system can only guarantee or strongly support two of the following properties. So we have it is saying that it may have the consistency or availability, but it doesn't have the partition tolerance in the database system. Or if we have the availability and partition tolerance, they cannot provide consistency, right? So in that way, they have given the cap theorem. This is the Venn diagram of the cap theorem, where we have the consistency, availability, and the partition tolerance. If you can see, consistency and partition tolerance will be given by these databases. Availability and partition tolerance will be given by these databases, and consistency availability is given by the RDBMS, database management, uh, relational database management system. Means it says that there is no point here which will have all these things possible. So the CAP theorem categorizes system into three categories. One is the consistent and the partition tolerance, consistency and availability, and available and partition tolerance. Okay, so they have said that it is either CP possible or CA possible or PA possible. Not all those are possible at once. That theory part, you can go through it. We have different commercial database platform which are available. So you can see here we have a new database, Oracle Database XC, IBM DB2, Actinx are some of the top virtual machine deployment of SQL data model databases. So this is based on virtual machine, which are relational model. Now we have non-relational or the non-SQL data model, which can be used for the virtual machine deployment, is called Logic, MongoDB, Apache Hadoop, Apache CouchDB, Apache Cassandra, Neo4j are some of the databases. There are some databases which are again relational database. Category is relational database, and it can be provided by the cloud service providers. So it is just as a database as a service. So what are they can give is uh, Clustrix, IBM DB2, Warehouse, Azure SQL Database, Enterprise DB, Heroku, and then we have Amazon Relational Database. These are some of the commercial databases provided. Then we have the non-relational databases, which are again provided in the form of database as a service. So we have Google App Engine, Amazon DynamoDB, IBM Cloudant, and that Amazon SimpleDB. These are all are the commercial database example for database as a service for NoSQL model. Okay, NoSQL data model. Right. So this is all about your database which we use in the cloud. It is all about cloud database.